again from where the stars shine day and night. Our guest this day is someone who can claim to have observed both this nation's centennial and bicentennial celebrations. The star of such memorable films as Leave It to Heaven, The Greatest Show on Earth, A Song to Remember, and his own highly acclaimed production, The Naked Prey. He's the one and only Cornel Wilde. And now, here he is, your host and man of the half hour, Skip E Lowe.
Cornel Wilde.
I'm
Earl.
not the one and only Cornel Wilde anymore because my son, who's 19, is also Cornel Wilde.
That's right. You have a Cornel Wilde Jr. He
Yeah.
calls himself CW.
Yeah.
Tell me, Cornel.
No, he calls himself Cornel.
He does, but just plain Cornel. He doesn't call it Junior or anything.
No.
Oh,
Well, I mean, his friends don't call him Cornel Jr., they just call him Cornel.
tell me, Cornel Wilde.
Yes,
Earl
sir.
Flynn and you have something very much in common. Adventure movies, those wonderful romantic movies. Tell me about those movies. I mean,
Well, actually, I had a great cross-section of types of movies that I was in. But I did more than the usual number for an actor of movies with sword play and costume. Partly because my speech was not New Yorkese. I could fit into almost any kind of thing. And the other is that I fenced competitively in high school, college, subsequently for 17 years. So that I was a very good fencer in foil, saber, épée, anything. And as soon as they found out, actually Harry Cohen at Columbia, they put me into 1001 Nights, which had a lot of sword play, and then in The Bandit of Sherwood Forest. And
you did a lot of them, though.
actually,
You
only
really
about
did.
7
7, that's a lot.
out of
Cornel.
like 65.
65 films.
Movies, something
Is that
like
how
that.
many you did? 65.
Well-
First, the very first. What was the very first?
The very first was High Sierra with Humphrey Bogart at Warner Brothers.
That's right.
And I played the part of the Mexican hotel clerk, which I didn't want to play. But at Warner Brothers, if you were under contract, you worked no matter what.
You were under contract at Warner's at
Yeah,
that time, right?
For 6 months. And at Christmas time, they dropped me. Right at Christmas time.
Good Christmas present, huh? Start the new year.
Yeah.
What happened after that?
Well, I was very lucky through one of the publicists at Warner Brothers. I was brought to the attention of a very good agent. I had a very bad agent at first. And that was the Goldstone brothers, Nat and Charlie Goldstone. And I was pretty desperate because I was running out of money. I sent money to my parents in New York. And I was married to Patricia Knight.
Patricia Knight. There's a name in the past. English, was she? Or American?
No, she was Bostonese. So
Bostonese?
she sounded a bit English. She had
She's a beautiful girl.
beautiful girl, very nice speech.
Actress?
Very nice. Yes.
How did you meet Patricia, though, real quick?
Well,
Not
we
to-
were both going the rounds looking for jobs in New York to the agencies, you know. And we met in somebody's office and walked off together and started talking. So
How long were you married to her?
10 years.
10. Any children from her?
Yes, a daughter, Wendy.
Oh, you do?
Wonderful, lovely lady. She's up in Northern California, Berkeley.
So then what happened, Cornel Wilde?
When?
New York City, then back to Hollywood, first
Well,
film with Humphrey Bogart. After that?
No, I stayed here because of the Goldstones.
Right,
I was ready to go back. I was just sunk.
right.
I was turned down at every studio as having something wrong with me. For one, I was too threatening. For another, my hair was too curly. Another one, that was the dumbest. A man named Joe Pincus at, where was he? At 20th Century Fox in New York. When I went to see him about getting a screen test, he said, well, this is all he said. He didn't even shake hands, he didn't say hello, he was reading the racing form. When I got up to his desk after about a 6-mile walk, And
Was it frightening for young actors at that time? You're saying 6 Mile Walk. Was
well,
it
I mean,
frightening?
there's a great big,
Desk.
huge desk at the end of a huge room,
Uh-huh.
and he's sitting there hunched over the racing form. And he gave me one glance and said, if you look like Ty Power, I'd give you a test, but you don't. And I went back to the racing form.
Ooh.
So there were many really rude people like that.
But you did remind people of you. You remind, Tyrone Power and you had something very much in common, too.
Well, a
You-
bit.
The romantic, good-looking.
Yeah, I mean, we
schwa-
fit into certain things. But I like doing a lot of different things, and fortunately I have. I played gangsters. And
You certainly did. Lots of gangsters. Roadhouse, one of my
Roadhouse,
favorite
yes, it was I
movies.
liked that one. It was
You
a
do
very
like
good script, very good
I
screenplay.
Lupino.
I loved, it was wonderful.
Tell me about that lovely lady working with her.
She was so much fun to work with. She was so dedicated. She was so good to work with. Because you really got the character she was supposed to be playing. And that character was playing opposite you. And,
It's easy, isn't it?
it is. That's the way it should be. And there was always eye contact. When I was in the theater for 5 years, I ran into a lot of actors, especially the sort of older, more experienced ones, who would not look at you. They would never look you in the eye. They'd look at your forehead or through your hair. Now, I'm sorry to say Eddie O'Brien was a good actor. He was in theater and out here later.
Yes.
But he used to do that. I worked with him in Laurence Olivier's production of Romeo and Juliet. I played Tybalt. And
So it really bothered you. People didn't look at you in the eye when you reacted.
well, at first
you
it
can't react
bothered me.
good, didn't it?
Right. At first it bothered me. And then I got used to it, and I'd been to Strasberg's
Institute.
classes.
Classes in New York.
Yeah. And by then I was getting pretty secure as an actor. So I made what they call an adjustment.
I see.
He looked at me here. I made the adjustment that his eyesight was poor, and I should take that into account. Paul Muni did the same thing. In A Song to Remember, I had no contact with him at all. He was miserable to work with.
Was he?
Mean, selfish, full of crummy tricks, pulling out a red bandana handkerchief when I was talking and flopping it around.
Trying to upstage you.
Well,
Is it?
Upstage, but also to attract attention to himself with all these little tricks. To be moving, to be doing. His glasses, all the time. And
Would you call that a great actor? By doing that?
I think he was a great actor when he did Zola, for example. I think he was a ham actor in A Song to Remember.
Yes.
And halfway through the movie, Charles Vidor, the director, told me that Muni had looked at the rushes and had gone to him very upset and told him that Cornel is underplaying his role and it makes me look as if I'm overacting. And Vidor said to him, no, Cornel is not overacting. He's acting correctly. You are overacting. I mean, Cornel is not underacting.
Underacting, yes.
And Muni wouldn't go for that. He just liked to hold attention on him all the time, which is a lousy way to work.
How did you get that part?
Did I get the part?
Yes. That
Not
Chopin.
easily.
Chopin.
You know why I got the part?
How?
Through a series of coincidences, as often happens in this business. You
Right.
might lose out on something great because of a coincidence,
Yes, of course.
as happened to me, or get a part because of it. I had fenced, as I said before, was on the Olympic Sabre Squad, the Intercollegiate Championship Foils team. I won the National Juniors. So I was a swordsman.
Yes.
And when I got out here and was set with the Goldstones, so I had some peace of mind, I went to the Hollywood YMCA where there was a fencing master,
Right.
a Dutchman named Doris de Jong. And it was wonderful to be able to fence. And one afternoon, or late afternoon, a good-looking man with white hair came in, dressed for fencing, and I was sitting in a chair watching. and came over to me and he said, "Do you want to fence?" And I immediately recognized the Hungarian accent. I was born in Hungary. And
You were born in Hungary?
yes.
Okay.
And I answered him immediately in Hungarian. I said, "Igen, köszönöm." And he said, you are Hungarian? And I said, "Well, I was born there." And so I introduced myself, and, and then I fenced with him. Well, I was far better than he was, but he was, you know, he was a fair fencer. And I let him win some points so he'd feel better.
Comfortable.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean, otherwise it would have been no, you know, no fun for him. And then he came again. 2 days later, he came every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So we got to know each other. And about the 4th or 5th time that he came over, he brought another man with him. And it was the
Producer?
well, the executive producer of the studio, Sidney Buckman, who also wrote the screenplay of A Song to Remember. And Vito didn't tell me anything about it at all. Buckman was a very charming, very likable, intelligent gentleman. I was very fond of him. And Vito said to him, "What do you think?" And Sidney Buckman nodded and he said, "Yes, yes." And
They found the Chopin.
well,
That's-
he didn't say that. And Vito said, you are right for the part in our picture." And I said, "What part?" Because there was another part of Franz Liszt and many other parts, you know, small parts. And Vito said, "Chopin, what do you think? Chopin." So I was out of my mind with happiness, and it was great. It was in the executive producer and the director.
Great.
And then I got all the negatives at the studio.
What do you mean by negatives?
Well, the casting director, head of casting at Columbia, then was a man named Max Arno, whom I had met in New York when I was still a struggling actor, looking for a screen test. And I'll never forget the incident with Arno, nor will a lot of other actors who went through the same thing. It was announced in the papers, so there were about 150 young actors at the Warner Brothers offices on 10th Street. And it was strange. I mean, there was no air conditioning then. And the room was filled with body heat and nervous sweat. And there was a long corridor leading down to offices and doors.
Yes.
And a very nice young woman, Shirley Burke, who apparently was a sort of secretary and or executive secretary in charge of the thing. And she would call out names, and the actors would walk way down the corridor and go into a door that was open. And sometimes they wouldn't get in, really. They would start to go in and then suddenly reel back as if somebody had poked them in the belly with something, and all shook up and would crawl out. And so by the time it got to be my turn, I was pretty nervous about what's going on in there.
Yes.
And then I found out. They called my name. I walked down there, get to the door. Shirley Burke says, "Mr. Arno, this is Cornel Wilde." And I start to move in, and there's a man standing behind a desk, with one hand on the desk. He had a fat, thick mustache, just like Hitler.
Right.
And as I started to enter the door, he went like this.
Out.
And that was my interview.
That's it.
That was it.
Pourquoi? Why? What happened?
Because he didn't like my looks. He was one of those who said my hair was too curly. I mean,
But you did get the
pretty
part
dumb.
after that. But you did.
Oh,
Chopin?
I got it because Vidor
Insist.
and
Had a screen
Buckman.
test for it?
Oh, well, this incident didn't happen here. That
No.
happened way back there.
Back there, yes.
So when I saw Arno here, he was just as set against me as he was
Yes,
back east.
I see.
Anyway, Arno wanted Larry Parks to play the part. Larry Parks was under contract. Larry
Yes,
Parks
at Columbia.
was getting a build-up.
Yes.
And later he was wonderful as Jolson. I mean, a marvelous
Yes, of
performance.
course.
But he certainly wasn't right for Chopin, because he did have a New York accent, which was perfect for Jolson.
But Cornel Wilde did get the part.
We
and
each had to
then
do a test 3 times. We did 3 tests.
Larry Parks and you.
Every time I did a test, Larry Parks was sitting 20 feet away watching me.
You're kidding.
That was Arnold's
That's tough to
doing.
do.
Yeah, it was tough.
But you did, and you got
Oh,
the
I
part,
did.
and you were nominated
I got-
for an Academy Award for the wonderful movie
I was nominated for Best Actor. And I
Best
was,
Actor. You were
boy, I was
nominated
thrilled.
for it.
Yep.
For a song to remember. It's a beautiful. We have a clip from that. Can we show a clip from this
Oh,
wonderful
great.
movie? I'd love
Yes,
to see it
sure.
right now. I really would, Cornel.
It's wonderful
Thank
music.
You. It's beautiful. As young Chopin, Cornel Wilde.
And a man worthy of the gift should grow closer to those people as he becomes more great. Fight harder for them with that same genius.
Realize that to make this tour is literally and actually suicide?
That's right. Cornel, oh, Chopin. Gee, that was beautiful. Did you learn to play piano? Was it, what's that?
I was taught the exact fingering for some sections of the music. Before the movie started, a concert pianist named Victor Aller was sent to my house every day, including Sunday.
Really?
And there were 2 pianos. One was a regular piano, and the other one had silent keys.
Yes.
And Aller would show me finger by finger what I did, and then bit by bit I would do it on the silent piano, and he would watch, and he would play the sound piano, like that, bit by bit. And then I would learn the actual fingering where Charlie Vidor had told him he was going to be on my hands.
Yes, yes.
So there I had to be perfect.
It was difficult.
Oh, the
Hard.
most frustrating,
Is it?
I mean, just drove me crazy. But
Okay.
after a while, it was wonderful. When I actually did the movie, and I had a Turby soundtrack to play to, and I had gotten used to the fingering and
Yes.
all, there were times when I felt I was playing, and it was wonderful. Dum pa dum bum bum pa da
These are
da dum
expressions,
bum
you have
bum
to do
pa
it,
da
right?
da 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 da. Oh yeah,
Yes, yes.
wonderful.
Merrill O'Brien.
Oh,
What a
she was a
beautiful
delight.
delight.
One of the most wonderful ladies to work with, to be with. Charming, intelligent, sweet, gentle, kind, thoughtful, all the good things.
That's nice. She's a lovely, lovely lady. She
Yeah.
was just a delight. The Greatest Show on Earth, Cornel Wilde. What a
Yeah.
great movie. International movie. Oh,
Yeah, that was a real DeMille.
that was a Cecil B. DeMille movie, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
and,
I mean,
you know,
you
that-
were brilliant in that film.
He won an award for that film. It
Betty
was the-
Hutton,
yeah,
Charlton Heston,
Jimmy Stewart,
Dorothy Lamour,
yeah.
And Cornel
That's
Wilde, you were just wonderful. Betty Hutton's...
At Begley.
Tell me about Betty Hutton. God, I love that lady. She's had some difficult years, that poor lady.
She really did.
Oh, I really think she is
sad.
just... Do you still see her?
No, I haven't seen her in...
Do you see any of your leading ladies at all? Do you keep in contact with any of your leading ladies?
Well, I'd have to do channeling with some of them. But no, I really haven't. Oh, I see Maureen O'Hara every now and then.
But you were married to a
parties.
beautiful, beautiful lady by the name of Jean Wallace.
Oh, yes.
And you have 2 children from her? How many do you have? One?
One.
One child? Beautiful lady.
We did a lot of films together.
With Jean. How many
Yes.
did you do with Jean Wallace?
Oh, probably
beautiful lady.
6.
6 movies.
I think so. And,
Did you direct any of her films?
I directed, well, she did 1 or 2 without me, but the 6, I think there were 6, maybe 7, I directed.
How did you meet Jean
produced and
Wallace? How
directed.
did you meet Jean Wallace, Cornel?
I was...
On film, or?
I was divorced then, and I went to Ocambo on the Sunset Strip to have dinner.
Close.
And it was like Monday, and there was hardly anybody there. It was early, and I saw Jean sitting there with a little man with thick glasses, and she looked just gorgeous.
She was.
And I had seen pictures of her, and I had seen a movie that she did in Argentina,
Yes.
Native Son. So I ate alone.
I
And
see.
as soon as the man had to go to the bathroom,
Yes.
I was at her table and congratulating her on the movie, and got her phone number.
And that's happened?
we started dating.
Big Combo. Tell me about The Big Combo. What a great movie that was, too.
Big Combo is an excellent movie.
Who's in that?
I like
Cornel?
that very much.
Who's in that?
Well, Jeannie and I,
Jean?
and Nick Conti, Richard Conti.
Richard Conti. Married his wife?
Beg pardon?
You married Richard Conti's wife, or you're going with her? Is that it? Richard Conti's
Oh, his
wife?
widow.
His widow, I mean, yes.
Well,
Sorry.
we've been dating for quite some time.
You have been dating?
Yeah. And
Still see her?
yes, but we're more
Friends?
just friends now.
I see. I just wanted to mention that.
Oh yes, I'm very fond of her. She's
She's a lovely lady.
a lovely, wonderful person.
What's Cornel Wilde new and exciting in your life right now?
Well, I have a new screenplay, which is very much, well, it's in the same genre as The Naked Prey. And The Naked Prey is one of my favorite films.
Can we show that right now real quick? A Naked Prey? What's Naked Prayer about?
Well, the Naked Prayer takes place in Africa in the mid-1800s, and in it I play the leader of a safari, and the safari is ambushed because of the avarice of the owner of the safari, who won't give the local chief gifts for going through their land. And we were ambushed, and they take us, the survivors, back to their village, and they execute 4 or 5 of them. And because the sub-chief tells the chief that I wanted to give them gifts,
I see.
They spare me, but they strip me.
I see.
And then they give me a head start, and then their 10 best warriors pursue me.
Cornel, you lived in Europe for many years, haven't you? Or
Off and on.
What's your favorite place? Rome, would you say?
Well, Rome certainly is one of them. I love Italy and Italian people and Italian food, and
What's
Rome
happening
is
with